Hello, I'm Michał Suski, and this is SEO 2024 Additional Insights.
Yeah, what's your additional insight for SEO in 2024?
Oh, I can see so many people sleeping on money, having huge authoritative domain, but not publishing enough content, and that's a huge mistake.
Sleeping on money. Is it not comfortable? Is it too hard?
Oh, I would say that it's about the policies and about kind of following brand instructions, trying not to hurt anybody, while still leaving a lot of the table, because there's a lot of chips on the table, especially after recent updates where big pages are growing bigger. Basically, they receive the proper snowball effect in SEO, in organic traffic, and I see them really hesitating from publishing not 20 posts a year, but 20 posts a week. That's definitely doable with their crawl budget, with their indexation pace. They could do it, but they are not. And I don't know why. There are probably many different things that cause this, but we should definitely try to break it down and maybe demystify them.
Sounds good. So how do you know if you have a strong authoritative domain? What metrics do you use?
Well, obviously it's about backlinks. It's about the traffic you have already and the coverage of the topics that are within your niche. You can clearly say that Majestic has authority in SEO. You can clearly say that HubSpot has authority in marketing. And most likely pages that are in their own niches can say on their own that they already have authority. Let's say 5-year-old domain, still in a business, still getting organic traffic from their niche keywords, branded keywords. If that's the case, you are definitely eligible to rank for so much more than you're ranking right now. And the only keyword you cannot rank is the keyword you not answer on your website, basically. With these days, algorithms, having big domain is a huge benefit that is so often overlooked. So yeah, traffic, backlinks, we can even use some citations flow, trust flow, DR, whatever you call it. Any metric that tells you about the strength is fine.
Is there one key, most important metric that you look at, or is it a combination of both things?
I personally look at traffic because it's like the outcome of having backlinks, outcome of having authority, outcome of having topical coverage. So I look at basically a traffic share. So the more traffic you have, the more you can have. And if you will look at your top 10 competitors and find yourself in the top 5, top 3 in terms of the traffic share, then you can call yourself authority and grow bigger and bigger.
So if you have determined that your domain isn't as authoritative as you want it to be, how do you make your domain name more authoritative?
Yeah, there are obviously 2 paths to do this, and both can be done simultaneously. So first one, the fundamental one, is obviously building backlinks. You can start with trying to acquire backlinks that are common across your competitors, which means that they will be the easiest to tackle, because if they could, you could probably get them too, pointing to your domain. Plus, obviously, covering all the topics in your niche to build topical authority. And I can see that only when there's a synergy of these two going parallel, so getting traction in backlinks and getting traction in content, they lead to the fastest. It's basically a fast track to building authority in your niche. So that's how you can bridge the gap.
Okay, well, so let's say that your domain name is relatively authoritative. You advocate publishing as much as you can. What do you mean by that? How much are you talking about?
Really, as much as you can. It's mostly about lowering your quality levels to push something to production. Because when you try to publish only the content that is like 100% with your quality standards, you will end up publishing once a week, which is definitely not enough. And there is a hack that can help you deliver only high quality content that is visible by the real users, yet testing a lot and publishing a lot. There is a close window between page that is being indexed and page that is getting traffic. So you have a couple of weeks, maybe 2 months between your blog post is indexed and start getting traction, real traction, let's say hundreds of people reading it from Google. And you got that window to actually figure out, okay, I just posted an article that is getting traction and it's not quality enough, so I will quickly rewrite it to be quality enough. But this way, you are able to publish hundreds of pages, index them, see which ones are getting traction, and spend quality research, quality analysis only on those which are getting traction. Otherwise, you will hit and miss and prepare, let's say, 10 super quality articles, but only 5 will get traction. It means that you wasted time on these 5 that are not getting traction because of wrong research or not strong enough domain or some other issues that would be found out during the audit. But yeah, so that's the trick. So you publish hundreds and then you see which ones are getting traction and then spend your expensive editorial time only on those that are getting traction.
Interesting strategy. But is it not possible to do some great keyword research, do some great competitor research, analyze the SERP to see what's ranking, and then before you even write anything, be confident in what is likely to get traction?
So traction for you are 2 different things, because you can there can be traction in specific SERP. So you can see that there is a demand, people are writing about it, people are reading, are crazy, hyped about a certain topic, but you may end up in a position that you will never get traffic from that article because you are too weak, for example, for taking over this keyword, or you don't have the topical authority in this area, whatever. So it's a good idea to test it first before you put a massive effort into making this piece 100% aligned with your quality guidelines. I even saw people really throwing some keywords at the blank page in display none just to see whether Google picks it up at any position or not. If yes, then it means you have enough authority. If not, then obviously you skip that topic and try it with another one. I wouldn't be an advocate of that sort of shady technique. I would probably lower the standards to make them halfway in terms of quality, see if they start getting some position 30, 40, 50, sometimes 20, they will climb up. And when they start getting organic clicks, is like an alert on Slack for your editorial team. We got a new task. It's time to rewrite this page to actually meet these quality standards. This is how brands that are really cautious in publishing a lot of content can get rid of that risk of people seeing their content that is not really extremely great, right? So because if no one is visiting your page, it's fine to sit there, to have this page. But when it starts getting traction, well, it becomes a liability that editors should jump on and raise the bar.
Is there a certain number of new articles per week that Google is happy indexing?
It all depends on a website that you are publishing on. And I would be talking basically out of the blue because there's no such a universal number. But in general, I would publish as much as I can until I see the slowdown in indexation, because that means I hit the ceiling. Before that, you will never know. It's like querying Google Search Console API. You never know when they tell you too much because they didn't specify that number. So you need to find out your number for your website.
Got you. Okay, so you keep a close eye on how many pages are being indexed, and you make sure that you don't publish any more than that number, which is fairly unique for you.
Yeah. If you see the slowdown, there is no point in publishing faster because they are not going to be indexed anyway. However, the more you publish and get indexed, the more crawl budget you will receive, because if the page is indexed and starts getting some traction in Google, they will evaluate your website as a little bit better. And if you are a little bit better, you deserve a little bit more crawl budget, so it can speed up with time.
So let's talk a little bit more about the type of content that you write quickly, the imperfect content that you just want to get published. Is this generated using AI? Do you use primarily humans to create this content? And is there any particular length that you tend to aim for? What are the core aspects of this? It sounds almost like a minimum viable piece of content that you're producing.
Yeah. So I will always start with reverse engineering of the SERP, always, because it gives you all these numbers. It gives you the length, it gives you the structure, it gives you the topics, it gives you entities, it gives you questions to answer. When you use the proper research prior to writing, you can even execute it in some large language model and push through the humanizer tools that will get rid of these GPTisms, like delve into, embark on a journey that, fasten your seatbelts, right? These are like the trigger words. You don't want them, so that will be the process of mine. So go to the search, check what's ranking, what are the common elements of what's ranking, what makes actually these pages to rank compared to the others, and when you gather these few points of information, then you turn them into prompt and then humanize, and you are like, value for money is really high in such a process. Obviously, if you are a big brand, you cannot push it like that. It will probably require a little bit more time. But when I hear that someone can publish 50 posts a year, it means that it's ridiculously slow process. So there is a lot of time to save and still maintain quite good quality. Even writing one post a day, but by a single writer, means that it has 8 hours, which is plenty of time to do the research, to do the writing, and to basically prepare quality enough post to be published right away.
And then in terms of how you determine whether or not that article needs to be augmented, what you will do is you'll look at, first of all, whether the article has been indexed. Secondly, perhaps if it's ranking maybe the 3rd or 4th page in Google, and you'll have a look to see if it's starting to get traffic, and those are indicators that
Yes.
it'll probably be worthwhile to improve that article. And if so, how do you go about enhancing it?
So I would put an expert. Basically, that's the moment to involve an expert on the article. So this starter article can be written by either AI or generic writer that is relatively cheap, but okay with grammar, okay with structure, okay with research done. And this generic writer can be a starter point. But when you start seeing that this article is ranking, like you said, 30, 40, it means that it's going to get there sooner than later. So you can already start thinking about who may be the one to turn it into masterpiece. And you got the time window between this moment of position 30, 40 and first clicks to actually get this article fixed, enhanced by real expert with some EAT factors and so on, put on the page in a way that you can sign it with your name and you will be like, fine, I'm fine with it. When you say, like a business owner, that you are okay with this content to be signed by me, then it means that it's enhanced.
So you've shared what SEO should be doing in 2024. Now let's talk about what SEO shouldn't be doing. So what's something that's seductive in terms of time, but ultimately counterproductive? What's something that SEO shouldn't be doing in 2024?
I wish I could say that they shouldn't be spending time in exploring large language models, but that's not true. They have to be doing it, even though it seems counterproductive at the beginning. They have to do it. What they should definitely stop doing, if there is any that's still doing it, they should stop acquiring crappy backlinks. These days, when we have so many websites devaluated in algorithmic updates, in penalties and so on, even though you acquire a backlink in there and it will kick in for a little while, you cannot expect that it will be kicking you for a long time, because it will get devaluated sooner than later. So I would say that acquiring these type of backlinks is really not a good idea to spend your time on. I would consider spending time on making some network and based on the relationships, start acquiring backlinks from real businesses, from a real websites that are like, let's say, like on our website, right? It's a SaaS product. It has a blog. It has traffic, established position. So that's something we should do instead.
Michał Suski is Head of Innovation at Surfer. You can find him over at surferseo.com. Michał, thanks so much for adding your additional insight to SEO in 2024.
Thanks for having me.
I've been your host, David Bain. You've been listening to an episode of SEO in 2024 Additional Insights, a Majestic series that complements the original SEO in 2024 podcast, video series, and book. Find out more at SEOin2024.com.